Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So there's this belief that because the Russell 2000, and this is the Russell 2000, hasn't moved up as much as some of the other indexes, let me show you. So for instance, say from 2022 till now, it's roughly moved up about 50-something%. Well, if we look at the other indexes, the Dow Jones from that same time frame has roughly moved up 63%. The S&P from that same time frame, 2022 to current, has moved up roughly 92%, and the Nasdaq has moved up a whopping 128%, roughly speaking. Could be off on some of these measurements. So the thinking is the Russell has not moved up as much as the other indexes. It's been kind of stuck in this sort of funk. And crypto follows the Russell. So if the Russell doesn't break out and move up aggressively, maybe even catching up to some of those other indexes, then that is not a good omen for any potential crypto bull run this cycle. It's created a lot of anxiety and fear, at least from what I've seen, because the Russell is not breaking out. So therefore, the whole question of whether or not there'll even be a bull run for crypto is right now, I guess, being thrown out there. Well, what I don't like about comparing the Russell to the other indexes in this specific situation is it makes you focus on what the Russell is not doing versus what it is doing. I believe that if you focus on what the Russell actually is doing, it will change your perspective on a crypto bull run this cycle. It's my hope in this video to show you what the Russell is doing, and I believe by the end of this video, you'll have a different viewpoint on the Russell. So let's dive in. Okay, so I have the Russell on top, and then on the bottom is total. Now, total is all of crypto, including Bitcoin. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare what took place back in the 2021 bull run. Now, the 2021 bull run was the bull run from the last cycle. It's pertinent to what is taking place on today's chart. So we can see that the Russell begins to start moving up aggressively. As it's doing that, total is barely doing anything. It's moving up, but just hardly anything. Now, once the Russell begins to approach its peak, well, that's when total really comes to life. It starts moving up. And this observation is important. Total really comes to life when the Russell enters its peak structure, this range-bound time. So during that range-bound time, total is just rocking and rolling while the Russell is just kind of a boring thing to look at. They both come to a peak at the same point, and then they both start the decline at the same point. Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to copy this fractal. Let's see, we'll do that. And we'll copy and paste it over on today's chart. Now, we're going to have to zoom in to see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm on a 3-hour candle. I was on a 3-day candle before. Now, full disclosure, I'm not sure of the exact scale that this is potentially playing out at. As more data gets printed on the Russell, we'll have a better understanding of how this fractal relates to what's taking place. However, I do think this is at least one possibility. It could be doing something like this right now. So we would potentially be at the peak. And notice that total is starting to move up aggressively as well, just like it did back in the day. So this is one possibility. Another possibility is it could be playing out on a smaller scale, maybe like this, and the same is true of that same relationship. Once the Russell entered into this range-bound time, well, that's when total really came to life. Okay, so this is total. What I'd like to do is take a look at total 2. Now, total 2 is all of crypto, but it's minus Bitcoin. And the reason why is because Bitcoin has really been the star of the show as of now. Many of the other altcoins are just kind of floundering and doing nothing for the most part. So let's compare total 2. Okay, so the Russell is on top and total 2, so it's everything minus Bitcoin, is on bottom. Let's go through this 2021 bull run cycle and see how they compare to each other. So once again, the Russell starts its move up and it's moving aggressively towards its peak, but look at total 2, nothing. It's even worse than the other chart. It's only once the Russell really starts getting into its true peak structure, this range bound time, well, that's when total 2 starts coming to life. So the other chart that we looked at when it started moving up a little earlier, that was Bitcoin. This is everything minus Bitcoin. So everything minus Bitcoin just kind of floundered until it entered into its peak structure and that range bound time. So now let's do the same thing. We'll examine the fractal and compare it to what's taking place on today's chart. Okay, so I was on a 3-day candle. I'm now on a 3-hour candle, and I have this adjusted to where I think it's more likely what's at play. What I like about the way I have it adjusted right now is, for instance, you have this wave. It corresponds quite nicely with this wave. On the fractal, you have this wave. I think it could potentially be something like that. And then you have this part on the chart and the fractal where it angles up. Now, we're not 100% sure it's at this scale. It could be playing out on a different scale. If this is playing out at this scale, this wave right here would be something like this. Now, it could be maybe doing something like that. And like I pointed out, as time goes on and more data gets printed, we'll have more data to work with and we'll have a better understanding of how this is playing out. But as you can see, it has been moving up. And hopefully, knock on wood, as we enter into this range-bound time, we'll see total 2 come to life. Now, look at what we just learned. We don't need a Russell that's moving up aggressively for crypto to go into a bull run. Everything that the Russell is currently doing is what is required for crypto to have a bull run. So it's my belief, and I'm showing you through history, that what is happening today on today's Russell is not alarming. It's actually what should be taking place. So it's my belief that the Russell is following what it did in the past cycle, and it doesn't have to move up aggressively. That is a theory that I believe is flawed. And all it's going to do is introduce anxiety and fear for you as an investor, and that is something you should avoid at all costs. Sure, we need to walk circumspectly. We need to understand the pitfalls and dangers. Now, speaking of pitfalls and dangers, there is another bull run structure that we can compare back to, the one that came before the 2021 bull run, and that is the 2017/18 bull run structure. Let's go back in time and examine that one. Okay, so on top I have the Russell 2000. The orange one is total 2, that's everything minus Bitcoin, and then the bottom one is total, so everything including Bitcoin. So back in this time, it's kind of a different animal. The Russell was moving up, and it continued to move up even after crypto goes into a sharp decline or a bear market. So this is a little different. However, if we were to copy this structure right here and paste it onto today's chart, it is following it. Today's chart is following this. Now, my guess is it's going to be a little different. The timing today is a little different. If we notice how it comes to a peak right here, essentially, before the Russell does this peak right here and then decline. On today's chart, it's already here. We're already here. So my guess is this whole thing may play out maybe on a smaller time frame. But as you can see, during this part right here, it was already a bear market for crypto. So today's timing is a little different, but let's copy this structure and compare it. So what I'm going to copy is this whole structure right here. Just be aware that this part exists after it. Okay, so here we are on today's chart. Here is that fractal. I'm on a 3-hour candle. And as you can see, it's been following the basic gist of what it did back in 2017. We're coming up to what I believe is potentially the declining part. But now remember, it continues to kind of waddle back and forth in a range sort of after this. So I believe that part that comes after this part of the structure could harken back to the 2021 fractal we just looked at. So you can see that we are really at a point where this one would suggest a decline. Now, if that other part is at play, I kind of question if it will do this. My guess, it's going to be maybe a mix between this one and the fractal from 2021. Time will tell, but you should be aware of this structure and of the possibility of a decline. But what's interesting about all of this is that today's Russel is following the bull run structures from the past, and it doesn't require some big breakout. Let's clean this up. So there you have it, folks. I hope this video was helpful. You know, if you enjoy this type of technical analysis, you should consider joining my Patreon. I have a Discord. Really, it's all about the Discord. The Patreon is just a way to get to it. You're welcome to join. It's a $5 a month subscription. I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research, stand on your own convictions. If you did enjoy this video and would like to see more of this type of analysis, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day. Bye for now.